Okay, in Unit 5, we're talking about the classification of matter. By the end of this unit, you should be able to distinguish between and classify matter as either a mixture, a pure substance, a solution, or homogeneous mixture, heterogeneous mixture, a compound, or an element. You should then be able to describe the ways that heterogeneous mixtures can be separated using their properties. Also describe the ways that solutions can be separated using their properties. You're going to be identifying elements in the main body of the periodic table. You're not going to need to memorize all of them, but there are selected elements that you should be able to recognize automatically in section 5.4. Also, where do the elements come from? So describing how the elements are formed in the universe, where do they come from? And the last thing is to simply state the position and masses of protons, neutrons, and electrons inside the atom. You can see the schedule laid out for you here up until Thanksgiving break. The main thing to notice is that the element poster due date is after Thanksgiving. However, if you wanted to get that done early, you could, and ensure that you don't have any work to do over Thanksgiving break. There's also a video, Hunting the Elements, that you can work on before this weekend or next weekend, and the test will be the day before we go to Thanksgiving break, so you don't have to worry about any of that on vacation. On the first section, 5.1, what is matter? This flow chart should guide you in determining what kind of matter you are looking at. So a matter is simply something that has volume and mass, takes up space. It can either be a pure substance or a mixture. You can tell whether it's pure or not as to whether or not it can be separated by physical or chemical means. So a mixture you can usually separate out by using physical means, but if you have to add energy, then that would be a pure substance. For example then, let's say we had a mixture, and the mixture was not uniformly distributed. We would call this a heterogeneous mixture, and these examples would be chocolate chip cookies and soil. So things that are not evenly distributed would be a heterogeneous mixture, heterogeneous meaning different. But if you have a mixture of something that is all the same throughout, that would be homogeneous. Homogeneous and the word solution are interchangeable, and so you can think here of things that are being dissolved and they're evenly distributed. For example, salt dissolved in water or oxygen dissolved in nitrogen. If you go the other way and you have just one type of thing, that would be a pure substance. And you can have two different types of pure substances. Things that are made of only one kind of atom, which would be an element, or things that contain two or more types of atoms, which are compounds. So for example, just oxygen by itself would be an element, or carbon by itself. But if you put those together, you would make a compound. Examples of compounds would be, for example, water and salt. If we look at diagrams of these molecules here, for example, carbon, if we just showed as an atom like this, right, this is just one single atom, so we can tell that this is an atom. Oxygen in nature actually is usually found in pairs, and so you might see depicted like this. So even though there are two atoms here, there's still two atoms of the same thing, and so this is also an element, even though there are two things, but they're two of the same thing. So these are both elements. A compound, like water for example, which is H2O, we could depict as one O and two hydrogens. You've probably seen this before. So it has two different types of atoms connected, and so that would be a compound. Same thing with salt, which is a combination of sodium and chlorine, sodium chloride, which would be two different molecules together. In our mixtures would be multiple things together. If they were evenly distributed, then you would have a solution, but things that are not evenly distributed would be heterogeneous. So the key words you're looking for are heterogeneous, homogeneous or solution, a compound, element, pure or mixture.